Have you ever felt like the universe has distanced you, as if you're cut off from the people and opportunities you once thought were meant for you? That profound sense of isolation, that feeling of being separated, isn't a punishment or a sign that everything is against you. Today we're going to explore a different viewpoint that may completely change how you interpret these dark moments. By looking through the lens of Carl Jung, the renowned Swiss psychologist, we'll learn how this isolation can be part of a deeper internal transformation. Why does it seem like the universe pulls us away from what we want the most when we're feeling the most lost? What lessons are hidden within that sense of loneliness? According to Jung, these experiences aren't mere coincidences. They're part of the individuation process, one of the most important journeys any human can undertake. It's not about fitting into society's expectations or following an easy path to self-awareness. It's about something far more profound, a process that seeks to unify every part of ourselves, both the known and the unknown. During this journey, it's normal to feel disconnected. That isolation, which often frightens us, is a crucial element of individuation. When undergoing significant internal changes, we often detach from our surroundings. Jung believed that this disconnection is necessary for us to truly become who we are. It's a process that transcends societal norms or living up to the expectations of others. Instead of clinging to the masks we wear to fit into social roles, individuation guides us toward uncovering our most authentic self. This true essence, however, is not always easy to discover or accept, as it's often hidden beneath layers of social conditioning and long-held beliefs. One of the biggest challenges in this process is confronting what Jung called the shadow. Before we dive deeper, let me remind you to support the channel. If this content is helping you reflect and learn more about yourself, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. This helps us continue creating deep and transformative topics. And if you're eager to further explore your inner journey, don't forget to check out my ebook, Divine Essence: Rediscovering the Inner Self and Spiritual Peace. The link is in the description. The shadow represents those parts of our psyche that we've rejected or ignored because they make us uncomfortable or seem unacceptable. These aspects might include repressed desires, deep fears, or impulses we consider negative. But for Jung, the shadow isn't inherently bad, it's simply unknown, and the unknown tends to scare us. Individuation, in large part, is about reconciling with our shadow. This process involves not only recognizing these hidden parts of ourselves, but also accepting and integrating them into our consciousness. It's not a quick or easy journey. It requires a profound level of bravery to face what we've been avoiding for so long, breaking down the defenses we've built to protect ourselves from these uncomfortable aspects of our psyche. Isolation plays a pivotal role in this transformative journey. Often, individuation can only truly unfold when we are alone, particularly when we're surrounded by people who reinforce our social masks. In solitude, we find the space necessary to listen to our inner voice, free from the external noise that pulls us away from our true nature. Although painful, this isolation becomes the stage where we begin to peel back the layers of our lives and see ourselves with greater clarity. When we begin to experience inner liberation, there's often a surge in vital energy, creativity, and a stronger connection to our authenticity. However, it's important to recognize that the path to individuation is neither straight nor clearly defined. It's a lifelong process, full of continual discoveries about who we are, where we must face challenges that push us to let go of old versions of ourselves. As we progress, this inner quest deepens and becomes more complex. In this sense, isolation isn't a one-time occurrence. It's a recurring, necessary part of our emotional and spiritual growth. Many times we misinterpret it as a punishment or an unfair trial. But in truth, it's one of the most powerful tools to reconnect with our inner truth. The universe doesn't separate us out of cruelty or whim. It understands that to discover your true self, you need to disconnect from the external noise. Our daily lives are filled with stimuli, opinions, and expectations that pull us away from our essence. What may seem like a penalty is, in fact, an invitation to reflect and dive deeper into self-awareness. When the universe pulls you away, it's really offering you the chance to look within, to face the parts of yourself you've been avoiding. While it may feel unsettling at first, especially if you're not used to solitude, it's in these quiet moments that the deepest truths of who you are begin to emerge. This retreat from society's expectations isn't just about escaping external pressures, but rather creating a safe space where we can freely explore our thoughts and emotions without judgment. It gives us the time and freedom to dismantle beliefs we've accepted without question, allowing us to rebuild ourselves with authenticity. Though uncomfortable, this process is crucial for living in alignment with our true selves. Moreover, isolation provides the opportunity to reconcile with our shadow, the parts of ourselves we've rejected because they don't fit the image we want to project. Solitude, we can learn to embrace these aspects and view them as sources of strength instead of weakness. This acceptance is essential for living an authentic life. When external noise fades away, your intuition becomes much clearer. Being removed from the opinions of others allows you to listen to that inner voice that connects with deeper wisdom. Carl Jung, a pioneer of modern psychology, understood that solitude isn't just the absence of company but a deeper emotional and mental state. According to Jung, true loneliness isn't merely physical isolation, but the feeling of not being able to share what we hold most essential. This type of isolation can be experienced even in the middle of a crowd. It's in these moments of psychological solitude that true transformation often begins. So we frequently view isolation as negative, but it can be quite the opposite. From Jung's perspective, these moments of profound solitude invite a new understanding of who we are and what our place in the world truly is. This isolation becomes an opportunity to shed external influences and reconnect with our personal truths, leading to more genuine personal growth. It's not purposeless isolation. Rather, it's a catalyst for meaningful change. This form of solitude can also be seen as creative solitude, a space where both artists and thinkers find inspiration. It's not a state of despair, but a place where the mind can focus on its own internal processes, free from daily distractions. In this space, creativity and reflection flourish, paving the way for new ideas and a renewed vision. Artists often seek these deep introspective moments to connect with parts of themselves that are typically hidden amidst daily life's noise. In these periods of solitude, they access a realm where their most genuine and profound expressions take shape, free from societal expectations. This form of isolation not only fuels creativity but also forces individuals to confront their deepest fears and weaknesses. In that silence, without external distractions, we must face the shadows within ourselves, those parts we would rather ignore. While this process can be difficult, it is essential for personal growth. When we confront these uncomfortable truths, we begin to free ourselves from the illusions that kept us stuck in behavioral patterns that didn't reflect our true selves. This confrontation is the starting point of authentic transformation. Gradually, we stop being shaped by the expectations of others and begin aligning more with our deeper selves. In this sense, solitude is not merely being alone. It's a process of rebirth. Much like a butterfly emerging from its chrysalis, those who embrace these moments of isolation can re-emerge stronger, more genuine. This transformation affects both the internal and external aspects of life. Internally, you gain awareness of your deepest desires, aspirations, and fears. You become more honest with yourself, shedding the masks you once wore to fit in. Externally, this inner change is reflected in how you interact with the world. You no longer feel the need to conform to outside expectations, allowing yourself to act in line with your personal values. Solitude also strengthens emotional and mental resilience, giving you the power to face challenges with renewed strength. When you confront your weaknesses and internal struggles without constantly relying on distractions or other support, you discover an inner strength you may not have realized you possessed. These solitary moments teach you to trust yourself, building the ability to navigate life without constantly seeking external validation. And Jung introduced the concept of synchronicity, which has fascinated many for its ability to make sense of seemingly unrelated events. Synchronicity suggests that meaningful coincidences aren't random, but are deeply connected and part of a greater purpose, even if they elude our rational understanding. This concept ties closely to the experience of isolation, which is often perceived as meaningless or empty. However, through the lens of synchronicity, isolation can be seen as a key moment where the universe is preparing for something you have yet to perceive. What may seem painful or confusing at the time could actually be setting the stage for a significant revelation or transformation in your life. Thus, isolation becomes more than just a disconnection. It transforms into a stage where the soul prepares for new understanding, a shift in perspective, or a fresh phase in life. Jung believed that the unconscious, a vast reservoir of symbols, archetypes, and psychic forces, is constantly communicating with us. This communication doesn't only happen through dreams or obvious synchronicities, but also through solitude. In these moments, these subtle messages can be heard more clearly, away from the distractions of the external world. It's as if isolation immerses us in a space where we become more receptive to the subtle signals that the unconscious tries to convey. This fertile ground of solitude is where intuitions, ideas, and new ways of viewing our life and purpose begin to emerge. In other words, isolation is not an empty void but a space brimming with potential. During these times, the universe may communicate with you more directly, and you may receive revelations that would otherwise have been blocked by the noise and chaos of everyday life. It's a period of gestation, where something new is quietly developing inside you, even if you aren't fully aware of it yet. Just like a seed planted in the dark soil, your inner being grows in silence, preparing to bloom when the conditions are right. Isolation also offers the opportunity to recognize patterns and connections in your life that you may have previously overlooked. Synchronicity reveals itself in these patterns, showing that the events, encounters, and experiences you've had aren't just coincidences, but part of a larger design. Through solitude, you begin to see these patterns, connect the dots, and understand the deeper meaning of your experiences. Before we continue, don't forget to support the channel. If this content has helped you reflect and discover more about yourself, leave a like and subscribe. This helps us keep creating deep and transformative topics. And if you're eager to dive even further into your inner journey, don't to check out my e-book, Divine Essence, Rediscovering the Inner Self and Spiritual Peace. The link is in the description. In isolation, it's as though you gain a new perspective, allowing you to see the full picture and appreciate the coherence underlying your life. Solitude can also alter your relationship with time. Normally, we perceive time in a linear fashion, where events unfold one after another in a predictable sequence. However, synchronicity suggests that time is not as rigid as we think. In moments of deep solitude, you may experience a sense of timelessness where the past, present, and future intertwine in unexpected ways. In this state, you might notice how something from your past resonates deeply with what you're experiencing now. Or perhaps an intuition about what lies ahead begins to take shape, as if time itself were unfolding before you. One of the most profound and challenging concepts in spiritual and psychological realms is the dark night of the soul. Originally coined by the 16th century Spanish mystic Saint John of the Cross, this term describes a period of intense spiritual crisis where one feels utterly disconnected from God, from purpose, and even from their own identity. This experience can be deeply unsettling, as it feels like being trapped in a void of despair with no clear direction for the future. Carl Jung, in his exploration of the unconscious and the individuation process, also recognized the significance of this phenomenon, viewing it as a critical step in the journey toward wholeness. From Jung's perspective, the dark night of the soul is not merely an episode of suffering but a process of profound spiritual purification and renewal. It is a journey in which the soul ventures into the darkness, only to emerge stronger and more aligned with its true purpose. During this process, a person is forced to confront their inner demons, those darker, repressed aspects of the psyche. These demons might manifest as fears, insecurities, unresolved traumas, or long-ignored desires. In the dark night of the soul, these repressed elements surface with unexpected force, demanding to be faced and transformed. This can be incredibly painful, as it requires one to strip away old layers of identity and confront parts of themselves they have long avoided. Here, isolation plays a pivotal role as a catalyst for radical transformation. During this period, individuals experience profound isolation, both in their inner world and in their external environment. While this isolation might feel like a form of punishment, it is actually a necessary pause, a time for the person to focus entirely on their inner process. In this solitude, the true purification begins, where the soul is freed from illusions and false beliefs that have hindered its spiritual path. The dark night of the soul is not a punishment but a cleansing process, much like the negrito in alchemy, where the raw material is broken down to its most basic form before being transformed into something valuable. Throughout this journey, the individual is stripped of everything non-essential, false identities, destructive attachments, and limiting beliefs. Though painful, this process is essential for the true self to emerge. Ultimately, the destruction of old structures is an act of love and grace. Although it may seem as if everything is falling apart, what is truly happening is that the ground is being prepared for a spiritual rebirth. Passing through this darkness, one is liberated from the web of old identities and beliefs, guided toward a new stage of life that is more aligned with their true self. This process also plays an evolutionary role in the journey of individuation. Jung saw this crisis as an inevitable part of one's psychological and spiritual development. Through suffering, a person is given the chance to integrate their shadow, facing and reconciling with those parts of themselves they had denied or repressed. This integration is essential for personal growth, allowing the individual to become more whole and balanced. Moreover, the dark tide of the soul offers the opportunity to forge a deeper and more authentic connection with the divine or the universe. During this time, superficial beliefs and preconceived notions about spirituality are often questioned and dismantled. As you delve deeper within yourself, a more personal and genuine understanding of the divine emerges, one that isn't based on dogma or external teachings, but on what you've lived and transformed within your soul. This new relationship with the sacred doesn't come from what others have taught you, but from your direct experience and inner transformation. Carl Jung, in his profound exploration of the human spirit, viewed the unconscious not merely as a repository for repressed memories, but as a rich, vital source of wisdom and guidance. For Jung, the unconscious was a vast ocean of symbols, archetypes, and psychic energies that, though often hidden, could surface and offer valuable insights when we paid close attention. Oscillation, according to Jung, can act as a catalyst, forcing us to focus on this inner realm, which we often neglect amid life's distractions and noise. When we're alone without the constant stimulation of the outer world, our minds naturally turn inward. In this introspective state, the unconscious has the opportunity to communicate more clearly. Suddenly, we may find answers to questions we didn't even know we had, revealing aspects of our sight that had remained in the shadows. Jung believed that the unconscious communicates with us through symbols, dreams, and visions, which cannot be understood solely through logic or reason. These symbols and dreams, which may seem irrational or confusing at first glance, actually contain deep messages reflecting our true nature and deepest desires. During periods of isolation, when our attention is no longer scattered by the demands of the outside world, these manifestations of the unconscious become more frequent and intense. It's as if by disconnecting from external noise, our inner world becomes more accessible, more willing to reveal its secrets. These moments are perfect for paying attention to your dreams, your intuitions, and the symbols that appear in your daily life. Dreams, in particular, are a particular doorway to the unconscious. Jung described dreams as a royal road to the unconscious, as they express repressed content and internal conflicts in symbolic form. Through dream interpretation, we gain access to parts of ourselves that might otherwise remain hidden. In solitude, dreams often become more vivid and meaningful, offering insights into our emotional state, concerns, and deepest aspirations. Beyond dreams, symbols and archetypes that appear in our everyday life, whether in visions, coincidences, or even passing thoughts, also play a vital role. These symbols aren't just products of the imagination but expressions of the collective unconscious, a part of the psyche we share with all of humanity. Archetypes like the hero, the shadow, the anima, and the animus are universal models that shape our experiences, emerging at key moments in life to guide us and help us understand ourselves more deeply. Instead of fearing these manifestations of the unconscious, we should embrace them as opportunities to strengthen our connection with our inner self. The unconscious is guiding us, showing us the way forward, and revealing truths that have the power to transform our lives. By paying attention to these messages, we can gain greater self-awareness and navigate challenges more consciously, aligned with our true purpose. It's essential to remember that the wisdom of the unconscious doesn't always come in a direct or easily understandable form. Its messages are often wrapped in symbols and metaphors that require time and reflection to fully grasp. This is where self-exploration, and even the guidance of a therapist, can be invaluable. By analyzing these symbols, we can uncover patterns that have kept us trapped in repetitive cycles or find guidance on overcoming obstacles that block our progress. Additionally, isolation and solitude create the perfect conditions for practicing meditation and other forms of deep introspection, allowing us more direct access to our inner world. In meditation, for instance, we can reach states of consciousness where the internal dialogue quiets down and the unconscious can emerge with greater clarity. In the end, isolation is far from being a purposeless disconnection. It's a valuable opportunity for personal transformation and self-discovery. As we've seen through Carl Jung's perspective, it's in moments of solitude that we begin to confront our shadows, listen to our intuition, and allow our true essence to surface. This process, while often uncomfortable and painful, is a crucial part of the journey toward individuation, where we learn to integrate all aspects of ourselves, both conscious and unconscious. Ultimately, the universe doesn't separate us without reason. It provides the necessary space for us to shed external expectations and pressures, giving us the chance to prepare for a more authentic life aligned with our true purpose. So the next time you feel isolated or disconnected, remember it might just be the push you need to reconnect with yourself and the path you're truly meant to follow. This is a process of rebirth, and although the journey may be long and challenging, the result is a stronger, more authentic, and liberated version of yourself. If this reflection brought you value, be sure to like the video and subscribe so you don't miss future content. Also, check out my ebook Divine Essence, Rediscovering the Inner Self and Spiritual Peace via the link in the description. And don't forget to watch the next video where we'll continue exploring the path of self-awareness together. I'll see you there.